We discussed a lot of things, and it went very well, very smooth. We'll see what happens. You know, we're trying to do something with a country we just spoke about, Iran. They are good negotiators, but they're tough. Sometimes they can be too tough. That's the problem. So we're trying to make a deal so that there's no destruction and death. We have a meeting with Iran on Thursday, so we're going to wait till Thursday. They don't want to give up what they have to give up. You know what that is. They seek enrichment. We can't have enrichment. We want just the opposite. And so far, they're not there.
That's President Trump on yesterday's phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, where Iran was a main focus, the president maintaining his position that Tehran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. Both also talking about the war in Gaza, Israel accepting the proposed ceasefire deal, though Hamas claims it wants changes. Joining me now is U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Ambassador, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What is your assessment of this ceasefire arrangement, and do you think anything will ever get done?
We sure hope so. You know, I've been wearing this yellow pin on my lapel since I've arrived. It's a hostage pin. I want to take it off, Maria. I want to take it off and throw it away and never see it again. But I can't do that until every hostage is home. So right now I'm still wearing it. And it's all because Hamas has refused to do anything that's reasonable. The president's been very clear. Hamas can't stay. They can't govern. They've got to leave. They've got to let the hostages go. And they pretend that they want to do that, but they don't, and they never move. And that's where we are. Hamas has to make concessions or this doesn't change.
Tell me about your time there, Ambassador, and what your priorities are today.
Well, certainly getting the hostages back is number one. Also, trying to seek some type of resolution with Iran. The president has been all over that. He would love to do it diplomatically. It would be better if it could be done. But the Iranians, they pretend that they just want this for peaceful purposes, but they want to enrich it to a level that would give them the capacity for a weapon. Nobody wants Iran to have a weapon. Nobody in Europe, nobody in the Middle East, nobody who is really using their full brain wants them to have it at all because they're just crazy enough to use it. So the fact is, it's not just Iran, but it's all their proxies. Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, all proxies of Iran. All of the bad things that are going on in the Middle East, most everything comes out of the kitchen marked Tehran. Almost every night since I've arrived, it's certainly every other day, we go to the shelters because the sirens go off. The Houthis are firing missiles into Israel. You know, we have 90 seconds to get to the shelters. That's postmarked Iran. So even though it may be delivered by the Houthis, it's the engineering and it's the efforts of the Iranians that are sending those ballistic missiles into Israel almost every single day.
So, Ambassador, you're there in Israel right now. What does it feel like on the ground, sir? Because, you know, for so long, we've been talking about Israel being so special because of its people and innovation. I mean, you know, you've got men and women going into the military from a young age, learning, you know, learning discipline, learning unity, and as a result, innovation has been born. You know, I mean, and I wonder if now all those people are in the reserve, right? They're reservists. I mean, I wonder what's happening with the economy there in the middle of this horror. What can you tell us about Israel and what you're feeling on the ground there now that you're there?
Remarkably, their economy has remained strong even in spite of the war that they've been engaged with Gaza and the threats from Iran. Maria, I've never seen people like this that are so resilient. They're used to hearing the sirens, going to the shelters. They're used to knowing that every day they wake up, someone's trying to kill them, but they don't let it get them down. Most Americans would probably be curled up in a fetal position, yelling, screaming, and pushing their way to the shelter to get there first. You don't see that here. What you see is people who are resolved. Golda Meir said it best back in 1973. Somebody asked her, how do you win wars you shouldn't be winning? And she said, because we have nowhere else to go. And that kind of sums up the attitude here. The innovations of this country are remarkable. Their defense mechanisms are incredible, but they have to be because they don't have 15 minutes or 2 hours to prepare for something coming their way. They have somewhere between 60 seconds and 2 minutes tops to be ready to face the incoming missile. So it's It's an interesting country. I know people think, is it dangerous there? Honestly, I don't feel endangered. I do have to run to the shelter regularly. That's part of it. But you look at it as a way of life. And in the meantime, the Israelis go about their business. They raise their children. They continue to go to ball games and they go to concerts, and they refuse to let their enemies take their life away from them.
So you've got to go to the shelter regularly. What is that like, Ambassador?
Well, whether it's at the embassy or at the residence, the siren goes off, and you know that at that moment, you've got 90 seconds, and that means you get to the basement. It's happened at the embassy. We had to hurl all of our embassy employees into the shelter here. It's happened at my residence numerous times.
Yeah.
I was at the headquarters of the Mossad late one night with the director of the Mossad, and the alarm went off, and we had to go to the basement of Mossad. So nobody's immune from it. It happens everywhere, and it happens virtually every single day.
Wow, unbelievable.